Audio Junkie.
Oh my God, here we go. It has been months of listening to Dr. False Fauci so long that I just can't take it anymore. So, for the record, this is just going to be one of a series of edging these quips and these insane, idiotic, unending false predictions from this total clown with his great credentials, but he's been doing this for 36 years as the director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases. And let's just go back to where this genius first started getting it wrong, which was from the very beginning back in January 21st. So with everybody talking about this or that, how somehow we're supposed to be able to predict this, this guy's been working on this for 36 years. And this is just the beginning, again, of a whole bunch of series that will follow, where here he says there's nothing to worry about. Later on, we're at a state right now in April 9th, 2020, where this guy wants everything shut down. He has no hope for the hydroxychloroquine drug, which is showing a whole bunch of hope. He doesn't want anybody shaking hands. There's not one thing that this clown says that he's able to get right. I mean, you'd think by now he'd even get lucky, or a 50-50 chance. Hell, this guy should be given a quarter to flip to figure out which way he needs to go, because everything he gets is so wrong. And later on, we're going to go over some of the actual facts of his predictions on the death numbers, which again actually just fallen again in a day or two. But let's go back to the videotape. Okay, so let's get to Dr. False Fauci here and the idiocy that he brought upon us in January 21st. And of course, later on in further additional videos, we're going to see where now he's taken a completely militant stance on everything to try and make up for the nonsense that he said here, because this guy, after 36 years, couldn't even get this remotely close. What an idiot.
So, manageable numbers. Bottom line, we don't have to worry about this one, right?
Well, obviously you need to take it seriously and do the kinds of things that the CDC and the Department of Homeland Security are doing. But this is not a major threat for the people in the United States, and this is not something that the citizens of the United States right now should be worried about.
Yeah, I know, because we should be worried about you. You are a total dumbass.
You dick!
Okay, so this gets even better, because here we are. Look at that date, February 17th, nearly 4 weeks later. Okay? And it was only a few weeks after this when things really started to heat up. But this dunce, 36 years, telling us to skip the mask, wash our hands, and that the risk is still minuscule. So let's go into a little bit of a quote here. The irony of this statement, now that it's April 9th, from False Fauci, quote, "Whenever you have the threat of a transmissible infection, there are varying degrees from understandable to outlandish extrapolations of fear." My God, isn't that what he has been doing ever since he flipped and turned into little beauty butt boy of the mainstream media? Furthermore, he said regarding masks, the only people who need masks are those who are already infected to keep from exposing others. The masks sold at drugstores aren't even good enough to truly protect anyone. If you look at the masks that you buy in a drugstore, the leakage around that really doesn't really do much to protect you. people start saying, should I start wearing a mask? Now, in the United States, there is absolutely no reason whatsoever to wear a mask, end quote. This article says also Dr. Fauci also doesn't want people to worry. Oh my gosh. What, me worry? Furthermore, here's a nice little kicker right between the legs. False Fauci doesn't want people to worry about coronavirus, the danger of which is, quote, just minuscule, end quote. But he does want them to talk precautions, such as listening to false preachers who have been directors of infectious disease for 36 years and apparently don't know what they're talking about or learned anything. Furthermore, he says, we have more kids dying of flu this year at this time than in the last decade or more, which is true. It was a bad flu year. He continues, at the same time, people are worrying about going to a Chinese restaurant. The threat is we have a pretty bad influenza season, particularly dangerous for our children, end quote. Article keeps going. It just keeps getting better. I mean, just talk about digging yourself a hole, and this guy doesn't need much of a big one. False Fauci offered advice for people who want to protect against the real and present danger of seasonal flu, which also would protect against the hypothetical danger of coronavirus. Hypothetical. This is not very scientific, is it? Genius. Continue just doing whatever the things we normally do during regular flu season. Okay, so this guy doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. He couldn't even stay in close tune to what was literally going on in China with a full lockdown. This isn't the same thing as what has been seen with Ebola. It's been way bigger and broader than that. And he had, even a month later, still the same nonsense. This guy's truly a putz of gigantic proportions. And the only thing that's better about this is all the subsequent ones where now he flips and becomes Dr. Evil and predicting all the deaths that are never going to happen. There's nothing this guy says that he can get right. He's a total dumbass.